Welcome, yogis. I'm just here today to give you a little 20-minute, 15-minute, 20-minute perhaps, little yoga session, just a little suggestion that you might like to practice along with me for those days when you don't have a huge amount of time, but you just feel you need to stretch and breathe and perhaps get yourself feeling a bit more grounded. Um, these days of being indoors a lot and not being able to go to many places, sometimes we can feel extra sort of tight maybe across the chest, shoulders, especially if you're looking at devices, looking at your phone and kind of hunched over things. So I want to focus a little bit on opening up the chest here. Um, so get yourself comfortable. We're going to sit down to start with, and I'll just grab my cushion. So I want this to just be nice, simple, easy, nothing fancy. Um, Take it gently, and as you can see, I'm at home, so um, it's nice to have a selection of different cushions and different things to sit on. So make use of what you've got around you. It's not necessarily going to be that you've got a yoga block, but maybe you have a blanket or even a towel folded or something like that you could use. Choose what feels most comfortable for your legs. You could be sitting like this, you could have your legs stretched out. You could be sitting on one cushion, you could be sitting on three cushions, but really check and see what it feels like is going to be most supportive for you. And then let's just think of imagining a thread connected to the crown of your head right at the top there, and that thread is being lifted very gently so that you grow a little bit taller. Let yourself grow a little bit taller. We're just seeing the beginnings of the first signs of spring right now, and just think maybe you've seen outside, you can just see these little shoots starting to appear, tiny little shoots starting to appear, maybe snowdrops and primroses and things like that. We can see life, new life emerging. So think of that idea of just kind of rising up out of your foundation and closing your eyes for a moment and just really relaxing your shoulders. Relax your jaw. Notice if there's any tension in the face from what you've been doing already today, perhaps. Just let that go. Just softness through the face, smooth breath, rising and falling. So with your eyes closed, that just helps us to just focus in a bit more on that breath and to really lengthen the exhale, perhaps if you can, if that feels right for you, really emptying out, the feeling of emptying out and letting go of the day so far. So just enjoy that for a moment. Try to keep the feeling of lift at the crown of the head. Also, let's imagine a thread just at the chest, at the breastbone here, and there's a little bit of lift there as well. So we're just subtly redressing the balance if we have had that happening, that sort of closing and rounding and hunching earlier in the day. Just notice if that has been happening, and just start to make those little changes. So a feeling of lift at the breastbone as well as at the crown of the head, and then the shoulders are just rolling back and down. It might be the shoulders are a bit stiff right now, but just try and make a bit of space across the collarbones, across the front of the chest, and breathe. Imagine you can send that breath right down to your hips. Feel it rising up, feel the energy rising up, and maybe you even grow a little bit taller again, just by a millimeter. And each time you exhale, let's sigh out the next couple of exhalations. In through the nose and then sigh out through the mouth. And we'll just start to move our arms. Once we've tuned into that rhythm, inhale and take your arms out and up and really stretch and reach up to the sky. Bring your palms together, and with your exhale, the hands come just in front of the chest with the fingers and thumbs lined up in Anjali Mudra, prayer position with the hands. Let's do that again. Just take this at your own pace. So it might not be exactly the same rhythm as what you can see my arms and hands doing, but just really let your breath guide that movement. Still a bit of lift in the chest, a lift at the crown of the head, and we're just finding a nice smooth movement, coordinating breath and arms, hands coming together. Let's do one more of those, breathing in through the nose and then sighing out through the mouth. letting out that breath. Okay. Let's just take the hands forward. So if you open, like opening a book, like the pages of a book opening up, the palms facing up and the little finger edges towards each other, and reach forwards with those hands, and then bring them back towards you. Bring the backs of the hands towards each other as you bring those hands back towards you, towards the chest. And again, inhale forwards, like you're offering forwards. There's a mudra called Pushpaputa Mudra, which is an offering of flowers. So you might even visualize some spring flowers there that you're offering as you take the hands forwards, and then just kind of rolling over the little finger edge, lotus hands in Bollywood dance almost. Kind of, you can curl the little fingers round perhaps, and bringing energy in to your heart center. You can look down at your hands perhaps here. And again, inhale, lift the chin. This time we'll just slight arch of the spine, and then exhale. Maybe you can feel the warmth of the breath on your fingers on those lotus hands. Inhale forwards again, and exhale, this curling of little fingers towards you, towards the chest. And then let's relax that. Let's take a side stretch here. So we'll reach up. I'll do the opposite of you just now. So if you reach up with your right arm, really tall, exhale, side stretching. Inhale up to the sky again. Take your time, wait for the exhale, and then float the hand back down again. Swapping sides, inhale up, reaching up really tall. Exhale, come into that side stretch. With the inhale, we come up again, reaching for the sky. Exhale, the whole of the length of that exhale to float the hand back down again. So really take your time. Rather than going side, thinking of just going side to side, we're making that central line, acknowledging that central line at the center in between those side stretches. Let's just do that again, keeping your hips grounded, but give yourself as much of a stretch as you can, and try and keep this chest area open. So if you find that arm is coming forwards, try and just take it back so that it's sort of in line with the ear rather than dropping forwards. So keep going with your breath. I paused there for a moment, but just hopefully you just kept going with that rhythm of breath. Coming over and up and back. We're just going to do a few more of these, but we're going to add in a variation here. Reaching up to the sky, exhale, come forwards. This time, instead of reaching up to the sky again, sweep forwards, move forwards with your heart, and make a semicircle with those fingers, like you're kind of drawing a semicircle there. We'll do the same on the other side. Reach up, exhale, coming over. Inhale, come forwards, tracing a semicircle with your fingertips. Reach as far forwards as you can with your chest, and then we're planting that hand back down, side. Let's do that again. Coming up, coming over. Be patient with this. Don't rush it. Listen, and your breath will tell you when you're going to move to the next part of this movement. Enjoy the reach up. Think of maybe visualizing blue sky up there and feel that lovely opening, the stretch at the side of the body, folding forwards. So we're getting this nice bit of fluid movement with the sides of the waist getting that stretch, and maybe we can feel this a bit in the lower back as well. And coming back, let's come back and just roll those shoulders forwards and up as we breathe in. Roll the shoulders back and down as you breathe out. Maybe you'll hear a bit of a clicking. Maybe there's a little rippling sensation here. If your shoulders are stiff, just be careful, be gentle. Just opening up across the front of the chest, and as you bring those shoulders forwards on that inhale, feel that stretch for the upper back as well. Let's just take a moment to just arch and round the spine. So we're coming to here and to here. You can have your hands on your legs and slide the hands forwards perhaps as you lengthen the spine, pulling the tummy in, chin to chest, and then bring the hands back closer to you. You can press the hands into the legs perhaps to help you scoop the chest forwards and up, lift your chin, roll the shoulders back. And just repeating that. So a little seated cow and cat. Length all the way from the chin down the throat, right down the front of the body, and then When you tuck that chin in and pull the tummy in, feel how you're lengthening the back of the body as much as you can. Okay, let's just come to if we come just for a moment to continue that on hands and knees. So I'm just going to bring my mat a bit closer and come to hands and knees. So hands are placed so that the wrists are underneath the shoulders and knees are underneath the hips. And inhale, arching. Exhale, rounding, pushing the floor away from you. Inhale, arching, opening the chest, rolling the shoulders back. Exhale, rounding. If your wrists are sensitive, make an extra layer to place those hands onto. You might even prefer to make fists rather than coming onto the palms, but just do what you need. Same with the knees. If your knees are a bit sensitive, you could fold your mat or bring another layer of something, towel or blanket or something, to add there. Just when you next come into rounding, really push the floor away, tilt the hips towards you, pull the tummy in, pull the chin in, really maximise that length in the back of the body. And then let's just move the hips around. It might just be a small movement, one way and the other way. Just loosening up any tension that's been gathering there, especially if you've been sitting a lot today. Then come back through into that arching, your cow position, feeling that space opening up in the front of the body. And then imagine you're drawing a little circle with your nose. Keep pressing through the base of the index finger if you've got your palms down, really grounding those hands. But just drawing that little circle, so we're just freeing up the neck, checking on the neck. Again, this is somewhere where you can sometimes hear the odd click or crackle. Again, just be gentle if it is stiff or sensitive. Drawing the circle one way and the other way while you're still arching. So you're still lifting the hips and just letting the belly relax, opening the chest, and just checking in on the neck. And then come back to a neutral spine again. And we'll step forwards into a forwards fold, which at the moment, and I think probably all the time actually, a forwards fold I couldn't do without really in any yoga practice, some kind of forwards fold. So it could be that you're coming into a nice full forwards fold where you're coming in quite deep. But if that's not for you, or if it doesn't feel right for you today, I'm just going to take my jumper off because I have warmed up a little bit now. If that's not for you, then you could, if your back is a bit sensitive, maybe you prefer to have your hands at your hips or your hands at your thighs, and you could take a flat back forward fold, so you're here. If your hamstrings are tight, just bend your knees, soften your knees as much as you need to. Your legs don't have to be straight, but try and give those muscles a bit of a stretch if you can. So you could even perhaps, another option could be to straighten the legs and then to soften the knees on an exhale, and again go back to straightening them or nearly straightening them on that inhale and exhale. So there's a bit of movement, so we're not actually staying in exactly the same position for the whole of this fold. Another option, of course, is to hold opposite elbows. So you'd be here holding opposite elbows like this. And whichever of those you've gone for, just swaying the hips. Let's bend one knee or bend it a bit more, and then bring it back, bend the other knee or bend it a bit more, bring it back. And just relax that breath again. Really lovely, long, deep breath. Sigh out a couple of times. We'll gradually make our way up from wherever you've come to, just making your way up to standing. Just for a moment, we're just going to take a couple of stretches here with the little bit of time we've got left. Step wide, and let's turn our right toes out to the right, lining up that heel with the instep of the opposite foot, and hands on our hips, and we'll just bend that knee and really enjoy the stretch in the legs and the thighs and just the hips, the feeling of sinking down in the hips. Take your arms out to the side. We'll come to Virabhadrasana 2, Warrior 2. So looking out, the same side where you're bending the knee, you're looking out along that arm, along that middle finger, in line with the middle finger, and out into the distance. I am facing a window in this case. If you're not facing a window, use your imagination. Think of a horizon. Take the shoulders back and down a little bit if you can, and just move halfway out perhaps, and then come into it again on an exhale. So you're really taking up space here. So let's bring the side where we're not bending the knee, sliding that hand down from the hip to the thigh. The side where we are bending the knee, turn the palm to face up. On an inhale, let's sweep that hand up. So we're coming up to make a curve if we can. Just keeping that lightness in the upper body, chest open, taking the arm up and overhead, and then just bringing it back again. Lovely stretch. Turn the toes to face forwards. You've got that wide stride. Let's just take a little forwards fold here. Again, either just coming part of the way or maybe it's a deeper fold. You could bring a cushion in front of you and put your hands on that cushion, perhaps, if you like. Just feeling the stretch in the backs of the thighs, realigning, finding our centre back at the centre here before we do the other side. Swapping sides, turning left toes out to the left, and again, just bending the knee. Ideally, that knee is coming to above the ankle. Maybe it's not going that far, but we want to make sure it's not going beyond that point. So that would be the maximum, is where that knee is above the ankle. Let's take those arms out to the sides again. Torso is upright, so we're not kind of leaning forwards. We've got the torso upright. Think still of that thread at the crown of the head. Arms out to the sides, looking out into the distance. Just check what your shoulders are doing. Often, when we're focusing a lot on taking the arms out to the sides, sometimes what happens is people will find their shoulders start to kind of tense a little bit, but think of the shoulder blades sliding down the back of the body. Again, a little release. Inhale, exhale, sinking into it a bit deeper perhaps. Taking up as much space as you can. Spread your fingers and your toes. Really take ownership of the space. Sigh out a breath. Let's reverse this like we did on the first side. So on the right side, you're going to bring that hand, sliding it, maybe keeping it on the hip, or maybe you slide it down the outside of that thigh. We turn the left hand palm facing up. On an inhale, maybe we come out and in again, and then we sweep this arm up, the hand coming up and overhead in that lovely curve. Sigh out a breath here. Come up on an inhale, just start to bring that knee back, and we'll turn the toes to face forwards, and again just folding, releasing, maybe edge the feet in very slightly, and then let's just like we did when we were sitting, just circle the hands. Let's bend the knees a little bit, and we'll sit into the hips a bit deeper. Take the arms out to the sides and up. This time we'll turn the palms away from each other. Exhale and bring them back down again. Let's do that again. Nice flowing movement. Exhale, back down again. Bring your palms together. Let's just have the feet about hip distance, but with the toes out at a bit of an angle, and just sitting in. If you can come to even to here with the hands on the thighs, you could come to here. If you can come deeper, you could either have your heels grounded, or you could lift the heels, come onto the balls of the feet, palms together. Malasana garland pose, just sinking into this and coming back to feeling grounded and coming back to our center. So if you have come into this in a bit deeper, you can even use your elbows to just encourage the knees to open out a bit more to the sides, a bit more openness in the hips. The thumbs can come into the chest, nice long spine. Focus on your breath again. Big sigh out. Sighing it out. And remember, if this isn't comfortable for you, you can be a bit higher up, or you could just come into sitting, perhaps just sitting comfortably with your legs in any position. But let's all bring our palms together, close our eyes again, and just start to listen into that breath, just like we were doing right at the beginning. And just check that your shoulders are relaxed. If you wish, come down into lying. If you wish, if you've just fitted this little yoga practice in between activities and you know you're going to be going off to do something else, then maybe you don't want to get too deep into a shavasana, but your choice, sitting or lying. I'd just like you to observe those breaths. Relax any tension, release any tension in the body. Enjoy the feeling of the energy that's perhaps flowing more freely, sparkling and flowing through every single part of you right now. Perhaps just a little refreshing practice for you to contribute to this next part of your day. So thinking of blue sky and spring sunshine. I can feel the land awakening. I can feel my body waking, refreshed and revitalized. I can feel the change of energy, the awakening of spring in every cell of my body. Now just take some time to scan through your body, looking for anywhere that needs a bit more of a release, a bit more softening. With your next exhale, think of breathing out any remaining tension. With your next inhale, receiving a refreshing energy. Just quietly digesting the effects of our little practice. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you soon.